Yo, welcome to the channel. In this video today we're going over the Magicka Nightblade build for the Waking Flame patch. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Maximum Magicka is 36.6k, magic recovery is almost 1.6, maximum health is 19.6k, spell damage unbuffed is 3k, spell critical is 71.9, spell pin is 8.3k. Now, I'm a Khajiit. When it comes to DPS wise, if you're trying to push numbers, Khajiit, High Elf, and Dark Elf are the three that you're going to want to go with. If you're just trying to, if you're having trouble sustaining on a magic class, go Britain. Britain are really good for sustain. You won't have any trouble with that. So, 64 points into Magicka here. The boon I'm running is the Theif. The food I'm running is the Ghastly Eye Bowl. Now, if you feel like you need more HP, you can go with, you can go with Witch Mother's Brew. Witch Mother's Brew is a really nice counter. It's going to give you a little bit max health. It's going to give you an extra 3k, which will put up your max health around 22k, but your max Magicka will drop. Max Magicka will drop to around 34k, and your magic recovery will drop to around 1.4. So, not that big of a dip. Unbuffed, now-wise. So, I'll just hit a spell power pot here. With that going, our recovery goes up to 1.9k, our spell damage goes up to 3.6. Fully buffed by ourselves with our sets, weapon damage, enchant, whatever have you. Our spell damage will go up to around 4.8, 4.9k just by itself. So it's pretty nice. But it works out pretty well for us. Champion points in the green tree. Gilded Fingers, Fortune Favors. Basically more gold from 10% more gold from everything. 50% more gold from chests and safe boxes. Go here just to bridge gap it. And then Steadfast Enchantment. You do want this at 50. It should be at 50. I do not know why it's at 10. I do know. I was changing some things around to try to do some stuff. And I think I just pulled from that. But 50, where you want it, basically your enchants are going to decay at a 50% slower rate. And then for the ones that we keep on our bar, Treasure Hunter. Find better items and treasure chests. Always want nice liquid efficiency. Whenever you use a potion or poison, you have a 10% chance to not consume it. Just 10% chance to save you some gold. This is really nice to have. So it's just nice to have. Now I do keep these on my bar. Plentiful Harvest, Master Gatherer, because I do walk around and collect nodes and stuff like that while I'm waiting for groups and dungeon queues and things like that. Master Gatherer basically reduces my research time, or my harvest time by 50%, and my Plentiful Harvest will give me a 50% chance to get double resources from that node. But if you don't care about these, then Rationer is really good. It will give you an extra 30 minutes on your drink buffs, and Steed's Blessing just increases your movement speed out of combat. Red Tree, ones that we keep on our bar. Boundless Vitality gives us an extra 1400 max health. Fortified gives us an extra 1.7k armor. Rejuvenation, an extra 90 health, magic, and stamina recovery. And then Siphoning Spells gives us, when we land the killing blow, we get an extra 1500 Magicka. Now, for passives, Hero's Vigor is really nice to have. It gives you an extra 560 max health. I like Tempered Soul. Basically, if we get caught and we get killed, for whatever reason, when we get res, we get an extra 10% of our resources back. So, this is just nice to have. Outside of that, Defiance, reduce the cost to break free. Tumbling, reduce the cost to roll dodge. Sprinter, reduce the cost to sprint. In here, we got Hasty, which will increase our movement speed by 4%. Tireless Guardian, reduce the cost to block by 40. Fortification, increases the amount we can, damage we can block, increases our block mitigation by 4%. Nimble Protector, increases our movement speed by 6%. And Savage Defense basically reduces the cost of Bash by 90. So yeah. So, Blue Tree. Eldritch Insight gives us 520 more max Magicka. Precision gives us a little more crit chance. Piercing gives us more offensive penetration. Flawless Ritual gives us a 60% increased chance to apply a magical status effect. And War Mage gives us an extra 100 weapon and spell damage to magical attacks. Ignore this. I think while I was filling something else up on my bar, the extra champion points I had just automatically went here, and I didn't notice it until I hit confirmed. So, but it's there. Ignore that. You do not need this at all. So, the ones I keep on my bar, Fighting Finesse gives an extra 10% critical damage and critical healing. Fighting Aura increases the damage done with area effect attacks by 10%. Master at Arms increases our direct damage attacks by 10%. Thaumaturge increases the damage, increase your damage done with damage over time effects by 10%. So those are the ones I have. And then of course, Deadly Aim, increase your damage with single target attacks by 10%. That's nice as well to have. But BackStabber, when you know you can stand behind the enemy or flank the enemy, this gives you an extra 15% critical damage done. This is really nice to have and really worth having. So you can replace whichever one over here that you feel you do not need or is not benefiting you the most. It's just whatever. Me personally, I tend to get rid of like Master at Arms. I've even replaced the Thermometer. Usually the DPS between the two isn't that big of a difference between the loss. So it's a couple hundred points, at least for me. I'm on console. So it doesn't really matter which one you replace. So, but if you know you can stay behind the enemy, BackStabber, Fighting Finesse are two you want on your bar at all times. But if you can't stay behind the enemy, like you don't know what you're going to get with a random group, BackStabber's not going to do you any good. So just replace it with one of the four here. So sets. First set, Medusa. Like I said, I run it on all my Magicka tunes. It gives us precision with a flame damage enchant, gives us a ton of spell crit, and gives us minor force at all times, increasing your critical damage done by 10%. So this just basically frees up a bar on our back bar, a slot on our back bar, which is nice for us. So this comes from Arx Cranium, Inferno Staff on the front bar, jewelry, infused necklace, 2 bloodthirsty rings, all with spell damage, or you can go all 3 bloodthirsty. It's up to you on what you want to do. Now, back bar, Maelstrom Inferno Staff, infused with a weapon damage enchant. Basically, this comes from Maelstrom Arena. Very easy to get in there and farm. Just go for it. Your light and heavy attacks deal an additional 1.3k damage to enemies in your wall of elements. So, monster set, Zons. We're running medium shoulders, divines with max Magicka, and medium helmet and medium shoulder divines with max Magicka. What this does, it gives a spell crit, and when we damage a nearby enemy with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to create a beam of fire that will connect you to your enemy as long as you remain within 8 meters of them. The beam deals 1.1k flame damage every 1 second to your enemy for 6 seconds. Every second this damage increases by 100%. This effect can occur every 18 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. Now, another set that's pretty cool, good to have, Graftar, comes from Vaults of Madness. Gives us max Magicka, and when you deal damage to an enemy within 8 meters, you have a 10% chance to create a lava pool that swirls around you, dealing 1k flame damage. Now, other ones, or other sets in general, when it comes to dungeons, Falcon Scoria is really nice, gives us more spell pin, but we're pretty good on spell pin as a Nightblade. When you deal damage with a damage over time effect, you have an 8% chance to summon a meteor that deals 5.3k flame damage to the target and a 1.7k flame damage to all other enemies within 5 meters. And then banished cells here have Maw the Infernal as max Magicka, and when you deal damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to summon a fire-breathing Daedroth for 15 seconds. Daedroth's attacks deal 2.2k flame damage and alternate between Fiery Breath, Fiery Jaws, and Fiery Claw, which alternate once every 2 seconds. So, you can't go wrong with any of those, or, well, actually, if you really wanted to, you just throw a Slime Crawl. It gives you critical chance, and it gives you minor berserk at all times, increase your damage done by 5%. So, those sets be the ones I would use. Zons is better single target wise, but if you don't want to be close to the enemy enough to proc Zons, then Slime Crawl, Maw the Infernal, or your 2 sets you should probably go with. Maw the Infernal, again, banish those 2. Slime Crawl, we rest sewers. So, both of them 2, very easy to get. Now, for our second 5-piece set, Scathing Mage. Now, I have an infused chest and infused legs. Divines is definitely better, but infused is okay for right now. It's not going to hurt too much. It's not going to hurt the DPS too much. So, but I just got infused and I haven't changed them. So it's just kind of what I'm going with. And then the waist, I have The sash, the gloves, and the feet are all in divines, but you do really want to try to get divines on all your body pieces. Basically, what this does is this comes from Imperial City Prison. It gives us max magicka, spell crit, and when you deal direct damage, you have a 20% chance to increase your spell damage by 498 for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds, and effectively, if you go this out, it's over 500, which is really nice as well. Did that. So, awesome set to have. It's pretty good on Nightblade. Now, I will say, I tried out the Mother Sorrow Medusa, full crit set. With it, it's nice. You can definitely run that as well. Mother Sorrow comes from Deshawn. It's really nice on a Khajiit, because one, are racial passives as it is. If you're a Khajiit, you could definitely get away with running the Medusa and Mother Sorrow, because we already get an extra 12% crit damage just for being a Khajiit. Now, as a Nightblade as well, also have, I believe it's in your assassination skill line, increase your critical damage by 10% with an assassin ability slotted. Deal critical damage grants you and your group minus Savager, increasing your weapon critical rate. So, basically with Impale on our front bar here, plus with Merciless, we're going to get that extra 10% as well. So, you can definitely get away with it. And honestly, you can even change out the Thief for the Shadow. Your crit will drop to around 56, 55. Well, it was like 56, 55 for me when I checked it. This probably should be higher, but because I have 2 infused body pieces of Scathing Mage, I didn't do it with Mother Sorrow. So, that might be the thing. Plus, we get more crit just for having the assassination ability here. So, it's nice. Khajiit Nightblade is really good to run the Medusa and Mother Sorrow setup on with Zons, or just Zons and Slime Crawl. You can get away with that if you want to as well. That will also cut down on some farming. Scathing Mage is from Imperial City, Zons is Scale Caller, and Medusa is Arch Cranium. So Mother Sorrow is an overland set that comes from Deshawn, and is worth having in general. So, just me personally, you could definitely go with that if you're a Khajiit Nightblade. If you're a High Elf, or a Dark Elf, Orc, or Briton, you can still run it, but it won't be as effective if you were a Khajiit. Lose a lot of DPS. So, that's the only thing I will say about that. If you are a Khajiit Nightblade, you could definitely run the Mother Sorrow set, Medusa set, and put out decent damage. So, you can still break that 35, 38k mark. So, skills: main spammable, Swallow Soul, stealing an enemy's life force, dealing 8k magic damage, and healing you for 36% of the damage inflicted every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. Now, I will say, if you can trust your healer in the group, I have no problem with their healing. You're not even coming close to dying. Apparently, I did not. Changed a couple of things. Get Elemental Weapon. It is worth using. It is probably good. You can, if you stay close, you can also turn this into like Concealed Weapon. It's not bad, but it is probably the weaker of the. It is definitely the weaker of the 3, I would say. Because yes, this is nice. You're up close. It's going to deal a little bit more damage, a few hundred, but this is going to heal you. So, for me, that little extra heal is a better trade-off than a few extra 100 DPS. But when it comes to spammables in itself, Elemental Weapon for me just outperforms. It's just better. That's just me. Use whatever you like. Use whatever works for you. Swallow Soul is nice as well. So, Degeneration. Bind an enemy with chaotic magic, dealing 15.2k magic damage over 12 seconds. SS magic spills out from them, granting you major sorcery, increasing your spell damage by 20% for 24 seconds. This is our dot. This is the dot. This also allows us to use trash pots. But if you're using spell power pots, so you really don't care about this, and you're having trouble sustaining even as a high elf, Khajiit, or a dark elf, whatever, use debilitating. The dots, it's like what, 13.4, 15.2. So what is that, 1800? Yeah, around 1800 difference in the DPS. But debilitate will give you minor magic still, 4 seconds. So if you're not getting that and you're having trouble sustaining, this right here will at least help you sustain. So, but you really shouldn't have any kind of trouble sustaining on a Nightblade. So, Merciless Resolve. Focus your sense for 4 seconds, increasing your critical damage and healing by 2% with every light or heavy attack up to 5 times. While active, hitting an enemy with 5 light or heavy attacks convert this ability into Assassin's Will, allowing you to fire a spectral arrow for half cost, dealing 17.7 magic damage, and heals for 50% of the damage dealt if you are within melee range. That's why I like to stay in melee range. That extra heal is just really nice. Plus, there are times where, especially in an execute phase, I do not fire this bow off. I don't. I leave it alone and just keep executing because I'm getting that extra 10% damage, critical damage, because it's stacking. Once it's 5, it stacks up to 5 times. So it's going to be an extra 10% critical damage on top of the damage that I'm already doing. Plus, Nightblades have one of the best executes in the game as it is with Impel. So I think it's second now after the changes to Radiant Impression. Templars. Magic Templars, but it's still up there. Definitely in the top 3. So, but anyways, yeah, Impel, it's an execute, throw a magic blade with lethal precision, strike an enemy, dealing 4.3k magic damage. Now that does not seem like a lot, but it deals 300% more damage to enemies below 25% health, and at the same time, I have seen this crit just by myself on dummies. I have seen it crit for 46, 48k. Not on a trial dummy, but on a 3 mil dummy, without all the trial buffs. So that is nice. And I've seen in dungeons where it has gotten up to like 60, 61. Well, anywhere between 59 and 61. So I guess it just depends on what buffs I have on me. But it's nice. So this definitely hits harder than it seems. So it is definitely worth running. But do not use it. I would not use it until they're around 20% HP. That's just me. Don't start spamming this and don't use it in the rotation until they're around 20%. Inner Light. Also, your max magic is increased by 5%, and you gain Major Prophecy, increasing your spell critical rating by 2.6. It's just there for that. I'm stuck. There we go. Soul Harvest. Ravage an enemy with a spinning attack dealing 13.9k magic damage and increasing your damage against them by 20% for 6 seconds. Also inflicts the enemy with Major Defile, reducing their healing received and health recovery by 16%. While slotted anytime you kill an enemy, you gain 10 ultimate. So, this is the main ultimate that we're going to use. We're going to use it every chance we get, and I try to line it up with my bow proc. So I know if I have a bow proc, I would like to hit this, and then I will fire off my bow. That bow will hit for, if it crits, which most of the time it normally does, it will hit for like 41, 42k, 43k. I've seen it hit for 45 if Scathing Mage is procced. So if you just time that up with the bow, within Soul Harvest, that bow alone will do a lot of damage. So keep that in mind. Sometimes it's worth not using this when you have it, just so you can have it on the rotation when you come back around to fire that bow off. Blockade of Fire. Slam your staff down to create a flaming barrier in front of you, dealing 1.1k flame damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. Burning enemies take 20% more damage from this ability. Pretty simple. If you wanted to, you could definitely go with the unstable morph. That little extra explosion at the end can adds extra DPS, but it lasts for 10 seconds, and so does Twisting Path. So it's just up to you. This gives 11 seconds, so it lasts for a little 1 second longer. Twisting Path, so I'll put this down, then put this down, and it kind of lines them up together. So, siphoning attacks. Oh wait, Twisting Path. Create a corridor of shadows, granting you and allies in the area major expedition, increase the movement speed by 30%. Effects persist for 4 seconds after leaving the path, deals 2.2k magic damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. It's just a ground AoE. You just throw it down. And I really like it as we're running through dungeons and stuff like that. I'll throw it out just to help the group along so we move a little bit faster. So, siphoning attacks. Imbued your weapon with soul stealing power, causing your light and heavy attacks to heal you for 1.4k health and restore 106 magicka for 20 seconds. Fully charged heavy attacks store twice the value. You restore up to 4.2k additional magic when the effect ends based on the length of time siphoning attacks was active. Try to leave this up for 20 seconds. Now, sometimes when you just need that little extra magicka for the execute phase, like maybe you just need that little extra for that one last little impel or something like that, by all means, hit it. Like maybe you don't have, like instead of heavy attacking, or um, like you got your potion, you can see it's almost there, but you're just short a little bit of magicka. Pop siphoning, get that little bit magicka back, impale, pop your potion, whatever. Sometimes things happen, sometimes things line up weird. You do not have to let this wait for 20 seconds, but definitely I wouldn't do something like that unless it's been at least 15 seconds. Because at 10 seconds, you really don't get anything back. I know you would think 10 seconds you would get at least 2k back, but I swear, for me, it's like getting back like maybe 600, which isn't even enough for an ability, which isn't even enough to recast this. It costs 972. So, I don't know. Maybe I just don't notice it, or maybe it's just the way it's going. But it seems like it never tends to give me enough for anything that I need at the end, unless it's been up for at least 15 seconds. So, but definitely try to let this set for the full 20 seconds. And you're going to cast this every second rotation, because this lasts 20 seconds and these last 10 seconds, pretty much. Although this is 11 seconds. Just think of it as a 10-second thing. Plus, with this right here, as you light and heavy attack, you're going to get it back 106 magicka per light attack. So, you should have no trouble sustaining on a Nightblade. So, like I said, that's why we can go with Degeneration, a little stronger dot, plus it gives us major sorcerer. But if you're still having trouble sustaining even with this, your potions, orbs, or whatever, by all means, you can switch this out for debilitating. So, or crippling grasp if you want to go with that one. On a back bar, this is a flex spot. Well, actually, both of these are a flex spot. But Harness Magicka is a shield. Convert a portion of your Magicka into a protective ward. Gaining a damage shield that absorbs 10k damage for 6 seconds. Damage shield capped at 50% of your max health. While active, whenever the shield absorbs damage, you restore 206 magicka. Each piece of light armor worn increases the magic restored by 33%. That can occur up to 3 times. So, and then of course inner light is double barred. Now, if you need your shield, keep your shield. But if you don't really need this on your back bar, you can replace this. But if you don't need your shield, like if you're not having any trouble at all, I like to use Dark Shade. Keep it on my back bar more than anything. That's why it's not leveled up. As you know, most execute dungeons, things like that, you tend to be on your front bar. But Dark Shade is really nice. Lasts for 17 seconds. Does 2.9k magic damage, and it also does an AoE damage every 2 seconds. So it puts minor maim on them, reducing enemy's damage done by 5% for 4 seconds. The ability scales with your highest offensive stat. So this is a nice little ability to have and use. If you're cool with using it, it lasts for 15 seconds. You can either have a dynamic rotation, because most of these last every 10 seconds. So it would have a 10-second downtime, or not a 10-second downtime, my bad. A 5-second downtime at least, or a 3 to 5 second downtime. So you can then cast it again, or you can just kind of rotate back, use it, maybe throw off another spammable, one more Swallow Soul, then rotate back, and then start the rotation over. But this right here, this keeps it close to as static as I could get it. So yeah, this is what I use. You can put them on either one of these. If you feel like you don't really need inner light on your back bar, by all means, you can just put this on here too if you want to use it. If you don't, these abilities will give you no trouble at all. And then back bar, we have Fiery Rage. Critic has a Ballistic Storm at the target location. It builds for 2 seconds and lay waste to all enemies in the area, dealing 9.7k flame damage every 1 second. 7 seconds. You can definitely put just Soul Harvest on your back bar as well. Won't hurt nothing. So by all means you could, and by all means you probably should. But for AoE trash fights, if you're just trying to burn the AoE down, Fiery Rage is better for that. So it's up to you on what you want to do. If you know you're in a group with a ton of AoE, so you know you can burn those ads down pretty quick, just put Soul Harvest on your back bar and just roll with this setup. But if you know you're going to need that little extra, like let's say you're in Falkreath Hold and you're going to need to be able to burn you're at the final boss doing a hard mode and you're going to need to burn the Atros and stuff like that down. So you need AoE, so you might not want to use necessarily Soul Harvest. So Elemental Rage, better one there. But everything's situational. Just keep that in mind. So when it comes to DPS and rotation wise, DPS wise, I could not get a single test that was not laggy and buggy pretty bad. I had a couple abilities fire off together. I had a couple heavy attacks go off. I had one where I was just light attacking and I got stuck heavy attacking in the middle of the rotation. It happened a few times in this one. This one happened once or twice. But for the most part, it's raining pretty bad where I'm at right now. That might be causing issues with my internet. But for the most part, you can normally pull 38, 39k with the setup when you're not buggy. But either way, 35k, even 31k. I mean, 31k was pretty bad, but it's not that horrible. 30k is more than enough to get through most of that content, but 35.8, even with a buggy rotation or a laggy rotation, not really buggy. Well, yeah, I guess if I was heavy attacking when I was just trying to light attack, I would say buggy too. So a little buggy and laggy, even on the 35.8k. That's still more than enough to get through any kind of content on a 3 mil dummy on your own. So rotation wise, you're going to buff up. Just very simple. Merciless Resolve, Siphoning. That's it. If you're running the Shadow, you'll pop the Shadow. Like if this just says on L1. So let's just pretend my Harness Magicka here is my Shadow. So we'll just pop it there. So buff up, pop your Shadow, pop fight, Wall of Elements, Light Attack, Twisting Path, Light Attack, Regeneration, Light Attack, Swallow Soul, Swallow Soul, Swallow Soul. Should be able to fire off about 3, and then just repeat the process. Very easy, and as you can see, you'll have an ultimate. Fire Rage is on my front bar instead of my back bar. But normally you would end cap here, fire off your bow, and then Regeneration, and then just start firing off the spammables again. Maybe 2 of them if you use your ultimate. So pretty simple. Redo that every 2 rotations so that way you keep up your resources. Swing in your light attacks. Swallow Soul and light attack is going to be kind of weird because you just can't hit it in light attack. If you just hit it and spam it, it's not going to work. So you're going to have to hit it, and then as you see it come back, that's when you light attack. You hit it, thing comes back, light attack. So boom, boom. It's just kind of how. It's a weird little thing, interaction. But as you see the red comes back, that's when you'll be able. That's when it will register the light attack. So, but for the most part, very easy, very simple, very static rotation, and pretty fun. You can get 38k, anywhere between 35 38k on it if you're at this CP. But it's the same. You'll hit around the same numbers if you're running full crit, jerking the Mother Sorrow and Medusa set. So honestly, it's not a huge difference in DPS, but I would only run this if you are a Khajiit. If you're not a Khajiit, definitely do like the Scathing Mage, Draugr, Burn Spellweave, those sets. New Moon Acolyte if you can sustain in it. So yeah. So hope you enjoy it. Hope you're enjoying the game. Until next time, take care.